some difficulty awakens in you, some desire or other, some impulse, some mood. That's one thing. But when on top of that, you react to that mood, that impulse, that demand, that feeling, that gloom, whatever it is, and make it your state and go through it outwardly and become more and more involved in it day after day. This is simply a reaction to the turnabout. Because the crisis, the genuine crisis, is the turnabout itself. It is the transformation itself. It is the turning from this contraction, this avoidance of relationship, into the condition of satsang, prior relationship. That is the crisis, turnabout. So one who lives as a devotee, the more intense his devotion, the less involved he gets in the drama of his transformation. He simply sees that there's, right, this week I want to go out and eat shoulder blades or something. So why do you have to get upset about that? The upsetness occurs when you do not live in satsang, when you resort to these preferences, these desires, when you react to it. You go along thinking how spiritual you are, and all of a sudden you have this wretchedly insane, compulsive quality that comes on you for several weeks. And you become upset because you want it to be spiritual, and you want everybody to think you're spiritual, you want to feel spiritual. And now this is what's happening to you. So you become upset, you become involved in that quality itself. And that involvement with that quality is what becomes obsessive. The quality itself is just what it is. Just as you can go to a movie theater and watch any kind of movie and eat, well, you could have eaten popcorn in the past. You know, make out and eat popcorn, even though the gorilla's on the screen, or the end of the world, or anything. Donald Duck. No matter what's there, you can casually carry on your pleasurable life. When you leave the theater, so what? But if you begin to believe it and take it on as your quality, then you have to live through the drama, the destiny, the karma of that thing that you've become attached to. And this is the tendency of the individual then. As these qualities are intensified within him, awakened within him, by virtue of the force of satsang, he tends to react to them. They don't fit his self-image, he gets upset about that. Whatever the quality that's arising at the time, he gets into conflict over it. And this is what people then think is the crisis. But it's not the crisis. It's simply the ordinary quality of your life. You could have done that before. But to live satsang always is the quality of a devotee, and in him the crisis is genuine. Because in him, regardless of what arises, what tendencies are arising, he is always returning to the real condition of satsang. And so all these things that are arising in him become less and less forceful. They cannot distract him. Because he is free and allows them to rise, they go out of his space. They leave the top of his head like lizards in a well. So it's not your capacity to be neurotic that's the judge of your devotion. It's your capacity to be a devotee, to be free, to understand. So understanding in satsang is the crisis. All the rest is your reaction to the qualities that arise rather than understand and live in satsang. People think that they are ready for spiritual life, but it's not spiritual life that they're ready for, it's some new fascination, some new distraction that they're ready for. So they don't truly find what is sufficient. They don't find the Guru. They have experiences. But the Guru is the principle of life. The relationship to the Guru is itself the fundamental structure of existence. So to find the Guru is spiritual life. People have traditionally used paintings and images of the Guru or saints or symbols of the divine or whatever. As an object of meditation in order to quiet the mind. They would look at this image and fix on it, either a physical image sitting in front of them or its duplicate recollected in the mind. They would constantly return to this image, or they would constantly return to the repetition of a name or word, mantra, in order to make the mind quiet down, to continually interrupt this tendency to become involved in the flow of thoughts and reactions. So some of you think that that is what you're to be doing at home, in satsang, or when you're sitting here. Where does this motivation come from? A man doesn't look at the picture of his wife, or a woman look at the picture of her husband in order to stop the flow of thoughts. You look at such a picture for the enjoyment of it, as a sort of recollection when you're not physically present with one another. It's not an end in itself. You don't fix on the picture. The picture instantly reawakens your attunement with that one. So these photographs that we carry of those we love are just expressions of our relationship with one another. And when we enjoy that relationship with one another, we're not concerned about whether we have thoughts or not. Our concentration on this other one whose picture we look at is natural at that moment, because we fully and naturally and spontaneously enjoy this other one. So we look at these photographs for fun, for pleasure, for the enjoyment of this loving contemplation. And that is natural meditation. But it seems when a person is to do this with the Guru or with the divine, all of a sudden it has to have all kinds of other qualities. It's got to stop his thoughts. It's got to do all these things. He's looking for all these things to happen when he looks at the photograph of his Guru. And all of that is a sign that he's not naturally inclined to his Guru. Just so, sitting in meditation at home, having a photograph there is an expression of your relationship to the Guru. It's not a meditative technique of some sort. It's simply a natural, simple way of recollecting this attunement with the Guru. Just so, the physical form of the Guru acts in very much the same way. It's a functional expression of this natural relationship. So the relationship between the devotee and the Guru must be as natural and as simple and as spontaneous as the relationship between lovers. An individual's concerns for his own transformation have begun to wear down as a result of seeking. He resorts to the Guru. When this resort genuinely takes place in the person, the siddhi of the Guru becomes active. And the individual feels calmed. He feels his thoughts tending to fall apart. The principle of his ordinary life begins to decay.